guys. Okay, I will pick. Rodolfo, can you start?
Me? Which one is this?
If artwork did not have any.
Oh, that. How do I try to present it? I don't know how.
Show us the video. At the bottom of your screen. Wait lang. Share ko lang yun. Let me. So, at the bottom of your screen, you click this one. You share your screen. This one, oh.
Oh, okay. Okay, wait now.
Okay. And also, I cannot download your ano kasi attach it with Google. Ano ba?
Right. Uh, Forgive me, this will give me some hands. Wait. Ah, okay, here goes. This is a really short one, so here it is.
Can you share your screen?
Oh, I thought I shared it now. Is it not? Can
Yeah,
anyone
we can.
see it?
We cannot
Oh,
see.
Wala pa, wala.
okay. Wait now. Can you see it now?
No, I'm sorry.
What's going on?
Did you click it, the screen, and diba my options? Share your screen, the entire screen, or
It,
tag.
sh- it shows share and cancel where hindi pwede mag-share.
Okay, so share entire screen and then okay.
Yeah, it won't share.
Really?
Yes.
That's strange. Okay, I will share na lang your.
Yes, please. Thank you.
So guys, if you cannot share your screen, please share. I turn in so that I could share it for you na lang. So can you see my screen?
Oh, that one? Okay. Yeah.
Is this the one or the other one?
Both, ma'am.
Both. Ano ba una?
The musical.
This one, Bella Xiao?
Yes. Oh no, not that one. The other one. That one.
Arts.
Yung Bella Ciao, then Humart.
Ano ba talaga? Bella Xiao. Okay, ito muna.
Yes po.
Okay.
Now I know what you're thinking. What in God's green earth does that have to do with the question at hand? And the question at hand is that if art did not have any function, will it remain art? I would say theoretically yes, but you see, the thing is, the function of art is it's meant to show people who you are. And that video, if you actually listen to it, it does show you who I am. And what I am is probably someone who's seen Money Heist, someone who's politically left leaning, because it's Bella Ciao, for Christ's sakes. Um, it's it's rock, so you might think of me as a rebel and probably someone who's not rich enough to buy a decent set of drums. Anyway, the point is, it shows you who I am with the 50-second video. And that's what art is supposed to do. So, yes, maybe it might not remain art if it doesn't show you who I am, but that day is never gonna come. The day that my art stops showing you who I am, that's the day it stops becoming art. But it will never happen.
All right, thank you. That was wholesome. Give him a round of applause, guys.
Is
So,
it over?
yes. Hirap sundan daw, sabi ni Patrick. Okay. So, thank you. That was awesome. So, who wants to go next? Joaquin. Okay, please.
I will.
Okay. Please share your screen.
Can you guys see this?
Yes. Yes, we can see it.
Okay, let's begin. If artwork did not have any function, will it remain art? So, what art form or artwork has changed something in your life? Why? I have always been exposed to visual arts since my father is an art lover and collector. Whenever we travel abroad, our family makes it a point to visit art galleries and museums. It was because of this that I was fortunate enough to see up close famous paintings like the Mona Lisa by Leonardo da Vinci in Louvre Museum in Paris, and Starry Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh in a museum somewhere in New York. The experience was awesome, to say the least. It felt very good to be surrounded by beauty. We also have many paintings and sculptures at home, as well as coffee table books about art. My favorite is a landscape painting by Spanish artist Juvenal Sanso. The yellow, orange, and green colors of the painting somehow relaxes me. Whenever I feel stressed, I just look at the painting and instantly feel better. It's like being transported to a happy place. Does art always have a function? Why? Art does not always have a function in the literal sense. It does not have a practical use such as a table, chair, or tools. However, art helps me express myself and helps me feel better. I remember the time I took up painting lessons from an art teacher way back in 2013. Well, I was 11 years old then. I made an abstract painting showing various colorful shapes. It did not make sense at all. It had no practical function. However, I felt good once I completed it. To top it all, my parents were so happy and proud that they framed the painting. It now hangs in our den. So here's my painting I made with my brothers before. If an artwork ceased to have function, will it remain art? Why? If an artwork ceases to have function, it will still be art as long as it's a creative form of human expression. It's art. Something that is created with imagination and skill and stirs the emotions. It's art. Functionality and practicality are not requirements for art. However, it really depends on the beholder to judge if something is art or not. This remains a subjective issue. So I'm going to talk about my plate. I prepared the materials for my abstract painting, which is 18 inches times 24 inches stretch canvas, paint brushes, acrylic paint of various colors. I started my abstract painting by drawing a slanting red line. The color red is very striking. I painted another red line. The color red symbolizes energy, passion, danger, and aggression. Next is a primary color blue. Blue suggests calmness, intelligence, loyalty, and freedom. I put bright yellow that suggests optimism and joy. However, the color yellow can also symbolize jealousy and betrayal. I added green, which symbolizes nature and the environment. It is associated with growth, health, and freshness. Orange is a secondary color that combines red and yellow. It is associated with heat, enthusiasm, and stimulation. I also painted the edges of the canvas since I will not frame this contemporary painting. For me, it feels more complete if I do this. I made black spots on the painting as accents. Black signifies mystery, elegance, and authority. It also represents darkness, evil, and death. And that's all done. Finally, I completed this painting. I showed my artwork to my family. They love it. I enjoy playing video games, especially first-person shooter war games. I do not like violence, but I'm fascinated with the weapons used. In fact, I feel I'm addicted to playing video games that sometimes I dream about it. In my dream, there was a fierce battle with lots of casualties. So much blood was shed that the river turned red. This dream inspired me to do this abstract painting. For me, it's a bird's eye view of a battlefield in Europe. The countryside scene shows a bloody river. The black spots represent the dead soldiers. Another viewer can have another interpretation of the painting. In fact, my father said that it reminded him of the salad he ate for lunch. To each his own, one thing is certain: my artwork does not have any function. However, I treat it as art because it gave me the chance to express myself in a creative way. I also enjoyed doing it. So, River of Dreams, made by me. And thank you so much.
Wow, thank you. That's very well done, Joaquin. Give him a round of applause, guys. Thank
One
you.
Jovi.
Ano yun?
Ma'am, sabi ko, nice one, Jovi.
Yeah, ang galing. So, who wants to go next? Hirap din sundan. Okay, Jose, Rafael. Absent na lang daw si Patrick. Okay, Jose, Rafael Latinazo, do you want to go? Please
Wait
share
lang,
your...
ma'am. I'm looking for the tab.
Okay.
Uh, uh, can you see it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I wrote the poem because I'd taken some poetry writing classes before, and I thought, hey, why not exercise it now? So this is about Chiron, the figure in Greek mythology. So it- so this was the initial draft. I only wrote 4 stanzas at first, and it was kind of a just a stream of consciousness thing. I just didn't stop writing until I felt like I was finished at first. So I wrote the initial draft before stopping to think about it, and then why I wrote it. Then after I thought about what I wrote, uh, then I started to make my changes and my revisions to it. So if everyone is done reading the draft, I'll move on to the next slide. Take that as a yes. Okay, so I wrote the piece thinking of Charon. He's the figure in Greek mythology that ferries souls over the river Styx, and in this scenario, I didn't place him where he would normally be. I placed him in the situation where he would be taking a train ride on like a train system. So it's not his normal setting. It's not his um what's the word? It's not gonna be his comfort zone. So so in this scenario, I thought, Charon, he normally has his purpose. He ferries the dead over across the River Styx. But in this situation where he's the one taking a ride on a train, he no longer has that responsibility. So I think you can kind of see where I'm going with this. But so instead of focusing it on Charon's lack of purpose, I turned it more towards, his experiences and thoughts during the encounter. Because I've been told that my writing style is something that it's like you have to say it out loud. It's like when I make pieces, people tell me it has to be performed. It has to be recited out loud. But I tried to turn it differently. I tried to use an inner voice for this piece this time. So here's what I thought about it. I thought it wasn't about having a purpose anymore. So even if Karen or artwork has no purpose in their particular setting at the time, the situation or the piece, it's still there to be experienced. I thought about similar to how art can be used to send a message, celebrate something or something. It can have an original purpose, but over time, when the purpose is no longer relevant, or it's placed in a new context, it could lose that original function. So just because the original context is no longer relevant doesn't mean that it doesn't have its own story anymore, or that it shouldn't be experienced by others who aren't going to experience it in the original way. So I thought the new context, it would let others still experience the piece, the artwork, or the experience, and they would still be able to liken it to what they've experienced themselves, to what they know in their own lives. So even if the piece does not have the original meaning or gravitas that it did towards them, it has its own meaning, not necessarily what it was originally intended. So even if art, this is what I think, even if art loses its functions, even if it does not have any more functions, it will gain new ones just by existing, just by being experienced, and thus it remains art for people to experience. So here is the final piece. It's a bit longer than the original. So I guess I'll read it out loud, even though I intended to not be read out loud this time. But okay, but I'll read it out loud anyway. So, is this what it feels like to be the one waiting in line, as though forever takes place before we step off the end? A price to pay to turn back, they said. A line I've said so often myself. Those who hear it are often glad to find they will no longer wander. The coins I've received, 2 at a time, I counted each trip, exchanged for a card that takes me to the terminal, the end. The carriage cramped, no space to breathe. Others leave at every stop, yet new souls again take their place. To the end I wait, though often I've taken the trip. It never feels quite right to not be at the helm. Okay, thank you.
Okay, guys, give him a round of applause. That was also very, very cohesive and clear. Thank you, Jose. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Give him a round of applause, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, okay, who wants to go next? Bakit sobrang metal? Bakit metal?
Oh, I intended that. I do like it. It was inspired by power metal for me.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So, collab kayo ni Rodolfo. Okay, who wants to go next? Okay, Catherine. Please.
Okay po. I'll share my screen. Can you see my screen po, ma'am?
Yeah.
Okay. So, alright. So, for the activity, it, it's questioning you that if artwork did not have any function, will it remain art? So, right. Slide. So, start. So, for my artwork in progress, parang basically lang kasi na I have some pictures na I did the drawing step by step until ma-finish yung artwork. So, I'll just explain it parang in detail para everyone can understand it. So, starting with the basic step. So, in this picture, you can see triangles in different sizes. So, some of them aren't really that accurate. And with those triangles, every detail comes up with a story. Like you have a reason why you want to draw a specific kind of thing or a particular thing. So for the artwork in progress, which I did it before. So in, sorry. I tried developing a new skill, which is using tapes, or what you call that, the washi tapes kasi I was watching some videos na there are some people using tapes para maganda yung artwork nila or something, like so that it would not become messy. And aside from that, I'm putting artwork with consistency, that I'm making sure that everything's clear, the artwork is clear, and I have not missed any parts. So for the after, what they did here kasi is that I removed all the washi tapes. That's why my drawing turned out to be that consistent. So my artwork became consistent, and at the same time it is beautiful and pleasing to the eye. So yeah, I just like the way how I put colors into it. It just helps me motivate lang. So
Catherine,
so
can you, I think yung slide is stuck up with the first page. Did you, ayun. Okay.
okay, I'll just move it back na lang. All right. So I'm done here. All right. Is it moving na po, ma'am?
Yes.
All right. So, okay, for the finished artwork, so this is how my artwork turned out. Like, what I did here is that aside from removing all the tapes and all of something messy, or I just decided to put my artwork in a small chair and then I'll display it against the white wall kasi we have a white wall here para lang maganda tingnan. So, for my description here is that this artwork is basically presented in different triangle sizes. Not like what I said earlier, that some some triangles aren't really that accurate, it's not perfect. So it tells us that even though life is not accurate as it seems, based from that given picture, we can still find a way to turn it around where we can do this through determination and hard work. So if you're going back to the question that if artwork did not have any function, will it remain art? For me personally, I believe that art has a function, um, be- because it helps me express who I really am, like the way how I draw. It helps me create some brilliant ideas. And so um, aside from that, I really, as much as possible, I really want to pursue doing more than one artwork because given that I am a fine art student here in Kalayaan College, and as much as possible also I want to inspire other people what it feels like to have art in their lives. So yeah, that's all po, ma'am. Thank you po.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Who wants to go next? Okay, Leo, please share your screen.
Sige po. Hmm. Ano ito?
Ano
Kita
yun?
po.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I'm sorry. So my artwork is actually a short story. Basically the gist of the story is that a little girl made a drawing with the intent of uh having it hang on the fridge, displayed on the fridge for her whole family to see. She presents it to her father, who instead of putting it on the fridge, the father decides to put it in the picture album instead. The girl questions why he's doing this when she intended for the drawing to be hanged, to be displayed, hanged. That's the word, right? And she asks if that uh she asks if that makes her um what's the use of her drawing if other people won't see it? So her father and the father and the daughter talk about it, and uh, he, the father points out that despite not being seen by other people or the other family members, the uh, the reason for the girl's drawing stays with it, uh, and that's not something that can be taken away. So I'll just scroll down to it because I doubt actually anybody's gonna read it right now. So right. So if artwork does not have any function, will it remain art? So like I said, in my work, the child asks her father what the use of her drawing is if the father doesn't use it for the purpose that she intended it to be. And the father replied that the drawing will always stand for the reason that the daughter made it for. And that is an inherent property that the artwork will not lose. Even if there's nobody to see the art, or even if some people skew the meaning of the art, it's always going to stay there. It may not be like uh discovered knowledge or something like that, that not everyone will know what it actually means or why the reason for that thing exists, but uh it still exists because of that reason. So I do think that art can I don't think that art can ever be without a function, since art will always be a vessel for the inherent reason of its creation. Uh I I don't know how to explain it further, but that's
It's okay.
basically what I think.
Go.
Okay. I'll try to let's say that you make art for the reason that you don't want it to have any function.
Mm.
The art that you're going to produce is still going to be a product of that very same reason, that it will not have any function. So its function is to not have any function, which is why I think art will never always be without function, because its inherent function is to carry the reason that it was made for, that it was made. I think that's basically it.
Yes, I understand. It's so you're saying something about like Dada. Dada, like the period of Dadaism, where artists made to mock or to produce artworks without inherent function. So yeah, I understand. So thank you, Leo, for this. Give him a round of applause, guys. Thank you. And yes, Joanne, do you want to go next?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead.
Wait. Okay, hello? Medyo mahangin ba yung ano ko? Or clear naman yung voice ko?
We can hear you naman.
Okay po. So, yung ginawa ko po kasi is essay. So, meron lang ditong draft. Tapos, I won't read it na lang po. Tapos, yung final version na lang yung read ko. Quick read lang naman ma'am, parang 1.5 page. So, this is my final version. It's an essay. Ano, Without the title is Without Dawn. You imagine sitting by the beach moments before the dawn breaks. You lie there feeling great excitement inside your soul. Soon enough, light approaches from the deep horizon. The colors begin to emerge and the sky slowly gets filled with hues of blue and orange. You now feel the warmth of a new day gently touching your skin. It's a new beginning. You embrace it as if you embrace it as if you because that's what your soul impels you to do. There's a connection between you and the celestial body that is millions of miles away. You feel it to be true. There's no denying in that very moment when the sun rises becomes your ecstatic reality. But to tell you the truth, as heartbreaking as it may seem, the sun doesn't feel the same way about you. In fact, the sun doesn't rise or fall. It's the rotation of the Earth and the way it travels through space that creates the illusion of sunsets and sunrises. The sun, in its own truth, remains unbothered by the movement of our own planet or of any other planet in our solar system. More so, it remains unbothered by you, and the connection you felt before exists only in your perception and is objectively not true. In an attempt to answer the question whether art remains as art, even if it gets stripped of its functionality, it can be likened to the sun. Even without sunsets and sunrises, the sun would still exist. Even without functionality, art remains art. If the earth stood still and remained exactly where it is now, defying the laws of the universe that commands it to rotate, there would be no sunsets and sunrises to enjoy. There will be no Instagram worthy photos of the sunset by the Manila Bay. We would no longer experience the thrill of anticipating a new day as the first rays of sunlight touch the ground. Yet, the sun will shine exactly the same, simply because the existence of the sun is not dependent on whether it changes the color of the atmosphere. It does not depend on whether we receive its warmth or not. The sun does not exist uh, because of its function or essence in the universe. It just happens to be there. Functionality, therefore, is not a prerequisite for anything to be considered art. It is not necessary. Humans have that innate desire to create. It's natural out of curiosity and intelligence. For humans being to craft, to paint, to draw, to write, to dance, to make anything that is made possible under the sun. Societies, however, as they progress through the course of history, have perversed this natural desire to make art by making utility as a necessity. We started asking some cruel questions. What is it for? What purpose does it serve? How will it be of any help to us? Art, therefore, has been used to communicate agendas, promote cultural assimilation and preservation, and aid in pushing for social, political, and even religious propagandas. Functionality gets even more highlighted in sculptures, in buildings, utensils, and even in pieces of furniture. A chair, for example, would be judged oftentimes not just by its design but mostly by its capacity to be used for sitting. However, isolated from people and in a place it perhaps in a pedestal where no one can sit on it and yet will still recognize it. That is a chair. Existence precedes essence. Now imagine a piece of painting, perhaps of Picasso, that is hanging on the wall. No matter how long you stare at it, for you, it just doesn't communicate any feeling, nor does it provoke any thought or idea. Obviously, you can't just sit on it like you would on a chair. It cannot house people. It cannot help you do any task at all. Yet it is there, hanging by the wall. It doesn't matter whether you feel indifferent about it or if you can't see its potential purpose that will serve you. It's still gonna be there. You can still say that is a painting, that is art. Just like the sun, even if we can no longer see the beauty of sunsets and sunrises, we all know that it will still continue to exist. It's still there. More so, even when it loses all signs of purpose and utility, a piece of art will whisper in silence, I am here and I'm still gonna be here. So that's my essay po.
Give her a round of applause, guys. That was also very great. Galing mo pala magsulat eh. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Who wants to go next? Ang galing ng ano niya. Yes, Kyle.
May mama ko na next para matapos na rin.
Sure. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so, um, I'll start my presentation siguro with the explanation na lang muna. Then, yung latter part ng presentation would be yung pinaka-product. So, to give you guys an introduction. So, to answer the question given, if art has no function, will it still remain as art? So even if art has no function, it will still remain as art as long as the artist is able to express thoughts, emotions, and even the most abstract images. I believe that it will still remain art. So to give you guys an overview of my final product or plate, it's called or entitled Create, like CRE with the number 8. So Create is about my sentiments on my creative process as an artist and musician. So in the Filipino verse lyrics, I express my purpose in writing my music. And then in the English lyrics naman, I let the listeners or the audience know that I take time to think about how my audience will be able to relate to my work and see its meaning as if it were their own. So may sarili silang interpretation kasi parang that's how I see yung parang yung perception ng general perception ng mga tao when it comes to music. Give it to consideration the lyrics and minsan and kadalasan yung accompaniment na rin. So the hook at the end of the song explains that art appreciation is all about being open-minded and giving understanding a try because I'm giving this emphasis. No artwork is worthless. So yes. So first video na ipapakita ko is yung progress like in time lapse on how I made the plate or the final output. Wait lang, share screen. Hmm. So it's just short. Siguro mga 49 seconds lang siya since time lapse or parang 20 seconds. Nakikita po ba? Hello po.
Yes, kita naman.
Play ka na po, ma'am. So here, all parang buong process ng ginawa ko siya siguro mga 2 sessions. Both lyrics and yung accompaniment. So I was the one who produced the instrumental of this and as well as yung lyrics na rin. So original production talaga siya. And I use GarageBand dito sa na to, sa project na to since hindi gumagana yung Logic Pro sa OS ko ngayon. So yeah. And siguro another brief introduction dun sa plate na ginawa ko. It's a mix of both an original song and a photo diary na I made with my friends na kasi aside from being a music producer and an artist, I'm also a photographer in some sense. Na parang I find art in photography. So these do sa music video or do sa photo diary sa video, makikita niyo kung paano kumuha ng shots or like what my forte is for ayun, which is yung mga portrait photography. So I'll share na yung music video and photo diary. Wait lang ma'am, nawala siya. Buksan ko lang ulit. Sorry. Wait.
It doesn't have a sound.
Ma'am, wala pong sound.
Wala. Maybe you have. Are you sharing a separate window?
Yes,
If you share a
try ko
separate
po sa
window, turn on your mic. I
Ah,
think.
actually, ma'am, try ko na lang po yung naka-upload po dun sa dun sa classroom baka sakaling gumana siya.
Okay, sure.
Sige, ma'am. Buksan ko lang po. Wait lang po. Hmm. Sections of art. Okay. Share screen ko na po.
Okay.
Ayun po, ma'am. Marinig na po ba yun?
Yes.
Meron.
Click
Okay.
on lang yung parang sa gilid, yung pinakagilid to make it full screen.
Sige po.
Thank you.
Para saan ba talaga ang mga salitang binibitawan habang sinasabayan ng musika? Di dapat to kainin parang mainit na kanin dalubhasa sa
Ma'am, sorry.
ginawa ng wika. I got time to create what people can relate to get by. Now you get to see my plate, you can use it every day, but you gotta lend an ear to catch my eye. Now it wouldn't make sense if you look for something else that it couldn't give, that it wouldn't live to be a piece, then you can try. But that doesn't mean that it is worthless, not a little bit. But that doesn't mean that it's worthless, not a little bit. Not a little bit.
Wow, ang galing ah. Give him a round of applause, guys. Wow.
Thank you po. Yun lang po.
Oh, thank you. Okay, hirap sundan na. Who wants to go next? Guys, who wants to go next? Okay, Joseph.
I made an essay, Puma.
Okay.
It's fairly short naman, so I think I can just
Please share the gist na lang. Okay.
okay. So, can you see my screen?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Also, my essay pretty much talks about the semantics, pretty much, of what function is in the context of art. So I was pretty much just splitting hairs because I mentioned here that you know there's a difference between functional and non-functional art, which we've discussed, but I made the contention here that art, for its own sake, is a function in and of itself. So, with that said, I do think that art will always have a function in whatever form it may take. Lastly, here's the last section. I talk about how art can be both a medium and a source, particularly a source, because we know that when it comes to the conception or creation of art, one of its functions is to allow us to be able to express ourselves. So that's where the conduit or medium aspect of art comes in. But art can also be a source of ideas and emotions. And that's why I included here the last paragraph. I mentioned that art, creating art in particular, is both regulatory and productive in what they do for our ideas and emotions. So productive being that it deals not so much in the expression, but more the derivation and generation of emotion or ideas. So yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Give him a round of applause, guys. I read I skimmed through the essay and it's very cohesive as well.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, who wants to go next?
Try ko po, ma'am.
Okay, sure, Vajra.
Wait lang po. Kita niyo na po ba?
Yes po.
Yung, wait, dito muna tayo sa process. Chart, sa process. Then I actually upload my art progress sa TikTok, so with us will ipakita ko na. Remember, I always loved you. Okay. So back to my artwork. So I actually wrote a short essay about this artwork. So here it goes. If quote unquote, if artwork did not have any function, will it remain art? This question is actually a mind-boggling one. It made me sit for hours in front of my artwork, trying to figure it out and wish that the answer would magically pop out of nowhere. But then I browsed through my confused mind. Another question arises. How does art lose its function? Then I remembered that each individual has its own perspective of things and therefore has their own meaning of function to certain things. An art piece to me can be a way of expressing myself since I lack sincerity whenever I project it through feelings or verbal communications. If I were to ask my younger sister, they are beautiful and believe that they exist for aesthetic reasons. With this, I use it as a foundation to find my way through and made this artwork possible to exist. During the quarantine, I would survive for days without going out of my room. My other sister pointed it out and asked if there were times I felt alone. I didn't give her an answer that time, but tried to hang out with friends after that. Then I realized that sometimes hanging out with other people makes me feel more alone than hanging out with just by myself. So has the meaning of being alone changed just because I think and feel that way? Then if to you a specific artwork loses its function but remains functionable to mine, will its function cease to exist? Then maybe an artwork will only lose its function when no one will exist to give it one. But on the other side of my mind, if ever art loses its function, it is still art. It exists for itself. Like me, I'm not alone because I am with myself. Ayun na. Thank you po. This artwork is entitled Never Alone po. You can browse to my IG account. Yes, nag-plug na. Boji Art. Ayun po, ma'am. Thank you po.
Okay, give her a round of applause, guys. So, who wants to go next? Follow nyo daw siya sa, ano yun, Boji account. Anyway, at 4 o'clock or 4:15, we'll start their lecture. So, Boji Art, okay. Who wants to go next? Anyone? Should I pick? How about Gabriel?
Hi, ma'am. Sorry kumakain ako. Wait lang. Um, ine-edit ko pa yung essay ko, ma'am, pero tapos na siya. So, okay lang ba parang ikwento ko na lang yung gist?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, sige po. So, basically, ano ba? Parang siguro just to give some people an idea, ano kasi ako, cultural organizer. So, kasama ako sa isang National Democratic Mass Org. Pangalan niya ay Panday Sining. Tapos, ayun nga, parang isa sa mga lagi namin pinag-uusapan is yung parang they're almost the same kasi in my mind. Nung nabasa ko yung tanong na if art didn't have function, will it remain art? Parang in my mind, medyo nag-e-echo sila nung claim na is there such a thing as art for art's sake? Parang in my mind, they echo the same statement or parang point kasi parang it treats art as if it's a soul entity. Parang it's as if art exists in a vacuum. Ganon. And parang, to me, I disagree. Kasi parang all art, like what everyone has been saying the past hour or whatever, that art is inherently a form of expression. Alam mo yun? Even without art without expression is an expression of itself, in my opinion. And parang our expressions are complex and it can be something from like it can go from very dramatic heights to even the most mundane. Alam mo yun? And our expressions are manifestations of our worldviews, diba? Yung worldviews natin, ano ba yung nag-shape nun? Hindi ba yung economic, yung political, at yung social? Alam mo yun? Parang these things, for me, they are so finely linked to each other na parang to say art without function, I didn't to ask the question that if art doesn't have any function, is it still art? Parang it doesn't make sense to me. So parang to answer the question, I basically said art without function does not exist. Kasi nga, art is inherently functional. Its function ranges from yun nga, as a tool for expression, as a tool for, shaping like a historical time na period, And art can be used for record keeping. It's also to echo John Berger's claim nga, na ayun nga, parang yung art, I mean, parang we don't celebrate art for what it is. We celebrate art for what it means. Diba? And I think towards the last part ng aking essay, I basically said that art, and this isn't to say na parang art without a political message or art without heavy political leanings is invalid. Alam mo yun, sinabi rin ni, yun nga, yung parang pinakauna nating lesson, sabi ni John Berger mismo na parang we are free to take art. Alam mo yun, parang when we view art, we view it as our own. Siyempre, meron tayong worldviews, parang yung worldviews natin na parang at a larger scale na reflection siya ng economic at ng social at political. Pero parang we are free to take art as our own. But that doesn't mean walang function ng art. Yun lang po. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Give her a round of applause, guys. Thank you. Who wants to go next? Bilisan natin konti. Patrick.
Okay. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Yeah. So, yung sa akin, gumawa na lang ako ng like editorial cartoon. And basically, yung sagot ko is similar kay Gabriel na no. Pagka tinanggalan ng function ng art, hindi na siya art. Kasi mostly yung, anong tawag dito, nung kino-question ko kasi kung pwedeng tanggalan ng function yung art as in at all kung pwede siya. So parang like wala kasi ako maisip na situations na non-functional yung art kasi at the very least yung artist themselves meron silang purpose for the art eh. So may function yon every time. So ni-review ko ngayon yung bale dictionary meaning ng function. Meron doon, sabi nila, anong tawag dito? Essential meaning niya is like special purpose or activity for which a thing exists or is used. So, yung dating sa akin nun, parang yung function, bigla siyang naging parang some kind of label na pwedeng mag-change ng identity ng bagay. So like, dito sa cartoon na to, bale, last living being na lang siya. So, wala nang nag-o-observe dun sa art. I guess, at this point, naubusan na siya ng firewood. So, sinusunog na lang niya yung art. So, yun na yung function ng artworks, quotes, ng artworks. Bale, firewood na sila. Parang ganon. And then, actually, medyo medyo patalon-talon ako ng thoughts, brains going light speed pero yung bibig ko and yung katawan ko sobrang bagal. And then naisip ko lang din yung biggest argument ko kaya ako hindi ko siya nasulat dun sa accompanying paper pero yung biggest argument ko for saying no ano tawag dito sobrang dependent yung definition ng art dun sa intelligence na nag-o-observe sa kanya. Like, in this case, last living being, what if this guy doesn't see it as art? Ayun nga, he sees it as firewood lang. Hindi na siya art.
Okay.
Yun.
That was interesting. Okay. But, okay. Thank you for that. Give him a round of applause, guys. Thank you. Who wants to go next? Diana? Diana, are you here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you share your work? And then next is, after Diana, is Christopher Hill. Antonio, please be ready.
Ma'am, pakisabi na lang po kung wala pong audio.
Okay. Wala siyang audio.
Wait lang po, ma'am.
Okay. Do you want me to share na lang for you, Diana?
Sige po, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Really nice. Do you want to explain?
So yun po, if artwork did not have any function, would it remain art. So for me po, art is like everywhere po. Kahit saan po, nandun po, parang it can be considered as art. So yun lang po.
Ma'am, nakamute po ata kayo.
Sorry. Okay. Okay. Sino nga yung sinabi kong sunod?
Ma'am ako po, pero I haven't completed my work yet. I'm sorry.
Okay. Rod Seb na lang. And galing ni Diana. Give her a round of applause, guys. Golden buzzer. Okay. Okay, Montgomery, do you want to go next?
Yes po.
Okay, go ahead. Montgomery, you could share your screen.
Wait lang po kasi may problema po problema.
Do you want me to share your screen for you? Okay. Diyan na pala. Ay, nawala. Montgomery, are you there?
Yes po.
It's not playing. Are you playing now?
This is my artwork. When I went to Japan, I see pamphlets. Then we went and I spent time with my family.
I cannot see it. Do you want me to share it na lang for you? Do you want me to share it for you?
Sige po, sige. Oo. Oo po. Sige.
Hi guys.
Nangyari.
Play mo na po, play.
Hi guys, my name is Matthew Martin. I'd like to show you something. This is my artwork. When I went to Japan, I see canvas. When we went and I had spent time with my family in Japan, and then I created this. When I went to see pandas, when I see bamboo trees, so I created it. During my lifetime in Japan, I pictured it, and then I created this for my work, and I was inspired by the piece of art, and that's why I created this. So that's why I made this for my dad, so he can grateful to me, and I make grateful for myself.
Ma'am, yung isa pa po, isa pa.
Hey guys, if you're watching this, I want to show you something about if the artwork did not have functions, it will remain art. Do you know why? Because art is expression to our lives. When you see things for real, when you see see things like buildings, trees, island, mountains, cities, and lanterns. That's why it is a form of an art. That's why when you see things like when you see things in reality, like when you see through your mind, like you were creating designs from the real world, like you can where it is based on real life, like you like you created a house create a house from the real lifetime, and then that's why it's it's beautiful and generously. That's why then when things I see things, mountains, trees, including the bamboo trees in Japan, and Mount Fuji, and also in San Francisco, when I see Golden Gate Bridge. That's why when I wanted to see things through this world, I wanted to see and created new artworks through my designs. So my dad can be grateful, and then I started that. Then I created an art like this one. This is I designed this from the Filipino, and then I like it. And then do you know why that do you know how hard? It's not hard because it's everyone think it's not hard. It's easy to paint it with your mind. That's why you can create graphics to your papers or paint online painting, and then you can created designs for the people who's closest to you. That's how you created an art. That's why it's not that's why it will remain an art. That's why is that's why people deserve to see things that is beautiful. That's why yan lang po.
Okay, thank you very much.
Ma'am,
Yes.
tawag mo po Matthew po. Matthew o Montgomery po.
Okay, sorry. Yes.
Hey guys, watching.
Okay, who wants to go next? Guys? How about
Ma'am,
Patricia?
you called me na po kanina, hindi lang po ako naka-respond.
Okay, sige, Rodseb. Yeah. Go ahead.
Uh, so yeah, this is just quick, simple 3D illustration I made on Blender. I basically just made it with the intention of making a piece that doesn't have any other purpose other than for its aesthetic values. Um, that's why I remember from Leo's explanation as well that the artwork itself, the intention is what makes it art as well. And I didn't actually get to take a video or photos of actual progress. So this was just I guess to show my workspace na lang without the material or the lighting. And so yeah, the intention was to just make something that wasn't what I would usually do, which was to express myself. It was just me using techniques that were at my disposal to make something that would or could be aesthetically pleasing. So yun lang na.
Okay, thank you. It's very nice. Patricia, is she here? Wala. Ano pa bang nag-submit? Jericho. Jericho in here. Yeah. Okay. So, okay. Wait lang ha. I'm just going to okay. All right. Let's start with. So you don't have any more question, guys? No more. Return multiple submissions. And then I'm going to share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes po.
So I believe we have someone here who is more knowledgeable than me in terms of music, but I would do my best that I can. All right. To let you know what are the elements of music. So basically, music is a beautiful sound, something that makes people feel comfortable, and it also have rhythm. So it's just not sounds per se, but it is a group of sound with some rhythm in it. So they are like beats mixed together to make a song. So that is music. So music is yung of one unit of the music is the beat. So if you mix the beat or you group together a beat, you create a sound or a song, basically. And music is also a form of entertainment, and we can hear sounds everywhere, but one particular tool to make sounds are the instruments. You have your flute, piano, guitar, keyboard, ano pa? cello, your string instruments, wind instruments, and stuff. And music is also very particular in portraying culture and creativity. Sometimes you could just hear something and then you would immediately know from what country or culture this music come from, right? For example, our national anthem and other national anthem, when it is played, you can immediately understand where it comes from, right? Or the K-pop songs, for example. Ayun. So, definition. Music is the art of arranging sounds in time so as to produce a continuous and unified composition through melody, harmony, rhythm, and timbre. It is also having the ability to bring a memory, mood, or image to mind. So, uh, music is very particular when you are just laying in bed, and sometimes it soothes you, it gives you peace. Sometimes it also gives you emotion, especially when a song is very sad. It can give you emotion or a story to mind. So that is music. Pero one thing with you could if what is the difference between music and noise, for example? Music is a unified composition. It has some principles that makes it music. Noise doesn't have a composition. It is not arranged. So that's the difference between music and noise. So, elements and principles of music. What makes you hear music? So, the core components or the elements of music, or the elements that we use to build music, are duration, intensity, pitch, and timbre. So, ano yung duration? Duration is the length of something. This is the time that's involved in making, or this is the time element in a melody. So, you have your beats, right? So you have a quarter note, half note, whole note, and then each note comprised of a beat. So if, for example, one beat, that is a quarter note, and then two beats, that's a half note, and then whole note, four beats, 3, 4, that is a whole note. So in yung beat, this is also what you see on a musical sheet, yung 1 beats, 2 beats, 4 beats. This could also indicate the tempo, kung gaano kabilis yung music mo, or gaano kataas yung pitch, or gaano ka-low yung pitch. Depende kung nasaan siya sa musical sheet. And a phrase is composed of 4 measures. So, for example, 4/4, usually it has 4 notes. 4/4. When it's 3/4 naman, it composed 3 notes and then 1 rest. So, yun yung ibig sabihin ng ano. So, those are your phrase or measures, and your beats also. And then your favorite song, the average song usually it lasts up to 3.5 minutes. And intensity. Intensity is the strength of something. For example, the intensity of a personality, the heat, or the volume as well. So you could see, not really see, for example, you could hear something very, very loud or very, very soft. that could be the intensity. Or for example, it could be very, very strong or very, very soft or muted. That is your intensity. And then you also have your pitch. Your pitch is the highness or lowness of sound. Pag malakas yung boses, yun yung intensity. Pero pag mataas yung boses, example, pagsisigaw ka, yun yung intensity. Pero pag mataas, like, no, like ganon, yun yung pitch. It's the highness or lowness of the sound. And then you have a timbre. The timbre is the specific sound of something. So, for example, one person has a specific low voice and the other person has a specific soft voice. That could be a timbre. Or for example, a guitar, there are different kinds of guitar, and some guitars have a specific sound to it compared to a piano, for example. Or for example, a bird can sound differently compared to a dog. So that is the timbre. And then you also have principles. So principles are the basic qualities that determines the characteristics. So basically, this will help you arrange your elements of music. So you have your composition, your form, your genre, your harmony, rhythm, and texture. So what is a composition? A composition is the activity or process of creating music, and it is also the end result of such activity. Kasi when you're composing something, you're creating music. Pero if you use composition as a noun, it is the result of the activity. So for example, you have your whole music sheet. That is one part of your composition. Or if you look at an essay, for example, one paper with introduction, body, and conclusion, that could be a one composition. It's the same thing with music. It can have an introduction, a body, and a conclusion, but you call it differently, like introduction, then you have your bridge, your then you also have your body, and then your what they call this, intro, interlude, and you know, and well, kasi depende sa music or sa sound, it could be like anong tawag dito? It could be like a loop. It could also have an ending. So that is your composition. And then your form. The form is the shape or structure of something. Form could be applicable in visual arts, in poetry, in literature, and also in music. So in music naman, this is how the music is organized. That is the form. The form here can be, for example, having different kinds of phrases like 4/4, 3/4, and stuff. So that could be a form. And then a form could also have like for example in a concerto, it can have one solo, and then there could be a group of violinists playing the song in one part of the concerto, and then it would have flute then, and something like that. So that's the form. And then the genre, I think you're all familiar of what a genre is. A genre is a certain type or category of something. For example, you have your rock, your slow rock, your rock, pop, what else? R&B, rap, hip hop. Yes, hip hop also. What else? Your classical. So that is a genre. And other things. And then you also have your harmony. In visual arts, we also have harmony. Pero in music naman, and also in literature, you also have harmony. But harmony in music are two or more pitches or notes that are played at the same time to create chords. So there are if you sino marunong maggitara? Here. Who knows how to play guitar here? Rodolfo, yes. Can you tell us about the chords? Like there are specific, alam ko, when playing a guitar, you have like, diba sa, in a guitar, there are seven ba or six na, seven na strings. And then there are a fret, and then there are parang, well, each string in a fret uh, would symbolize the beat or a particular note. And then if you combine, 'di ba, yung yung sa guitar, that would create a chord, right? Am I right?
Yes, ma'am. There are only mostly six strings in guitar.
Oh, six. Okay. So other string instruments are sometimes 4, 3, 2. But yung notes dyan, if you press it together, it would create a chord, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then you also have your rhythm. So your rhythm is the grouping of musical sounds by duration and intensity. So rhythm here is different from harmony. Kasi harmony is yung combination of different notes. Rhythm naman here are your phrases, or there is a time and intensity involved. Like, for example, on a certain beat, or a certain time frame, the sound would be very, very loud or very, very strong, and then after nun bababa siya. For example, in a rock music, it would start very, very soft, and then suddenly it become like rah rah rah. So so that could be a rhythm. So it's the grouping of musical sounds by duration and intensity. But rhythm here could also be a repetition of sounds. All right. And then texture. Texture is the way something feels or the mood of the music. For example, the voice could have like a raspy feeling, or may parang anong tawag doon, yung voice na parang may something stuck here sa throat, parang nagba-vibrate. So that could be another texture. And there are other voices na texture are very cool or very soft. And then meron namang texture na um, very high pitch naman. So the pitches, the sounds, it could have an effect of the musical texture. All right. Do you have any questions? Guys?
None, ma'am.
Bilis ah. None, ma'am. Wait lang. Ayun. So, if that is clear, then you will go to another. Here. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen, guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so okay. So this is your element. The element naman dito is different. Pero this is more anong tawag dito? More advanced. So the element could have a rhythm, could have a beat, meter, tempo, and synchronization. And then you also have dynamics like forte, piano, crescendo, decrescendo. And then melody could have a pitch, theme, conjunct, and disjunct. And then harmony could have chord, progression, consonance, dissonance, key, tonality, atonality. And a tone color could be the register, the range, instrumentation, and other things. But let's keep it simple. So you have your rhythm. Rhythm is the time in music. So, for example, if you tap the flute of your music, that is how you keep a beat. But rhythm could be the duration or how long a sound will last, or how long there could be a rest or a silence in the melody. So it could also be the tempo, or it is the speed of the beat. Diba? Remember your notes? Yung pag-beat, pag 1, 2, 3. So the rhythm could also be the tempo here, meaning the speed of a beat. How fast could you clap, or how slow could it be? And then you have different kinds of names of beat. So here we go. So you have it here, Largo, 40 to 65 beats per minute. And then Presto, ito na ang pinakababilis, 168 to 208 beats per minute. So, ayan, Largo is the slower, or the slowest, and faster is the Presto. But these tempos are not specific, but rather they are relative to each other. One interesting fact is that your heart rate is measured beats per minute. So so if you measure your heart rate, you count how many times the beat is. So if you have a fast heart rate, andito ka, moderato. And then when you have low, largo. Joke lang, pero really, the sound of your heart is connected here. But you don't call your heart rate moderato or largo, stuff like that. That's just for musical musicians. And then also you have your meter. meter are beats organized in a recurring pattern. So like I said, you have your 2/4, 3/4, 4/4. So sometimes the meter here would be uh, ibig sabihin 2/4, 1 to 2 beats, and the rest are rest. So kaya pero usually when it's a beat or during a meter, you have one strong na a note, and then there is another weak. Same thing with a triple meter. It's usually starts with a strong and two weak beats. And this is also with a quadruple meter naman is different kasi it has strong, then weak, medium, and then weak na beat. So if you remember your Lupang Hinirang, our national anthem, you have the beats could be 1/4, and then it was changed to uh, a duple meter. So that's how you do it. So basically, there is a strong, and then there is a weak. Strong, weak, strong, weak. So ganun siya. And then the repetitive beats, yun na yung song mo. But it is grouped into a meter. So, ayan. And then you also have dynamics. So dynamics here could be like the intensity. Tama ba? It could be the loudness or the quietness of, the loudness or the quietness of the music. So you have it here. Pag pianissimo, it's very quiet. And then fortissimo, it's very loud. So this is very important when you are reading a musical sheet. Pero if you're not reading a musical sheet, which we do not really use normally every day, it's not that important. Pero just so you learn something or just so that you understand a little bit, pianissimo, when you say pianissimo, it's very quiet. Piano, quiet. Mezzo piano, moderately quiet. Mezzo forte, moderately loud. And forte, loud. And fortissimo, very loud. So it's just used to show or to tell people who are reading the musical sheet what kind of sound quality a musician should play the dynamics of the song. So, ayan. And then your melody naman can have could be like a theme. So this is how you present the pitch. So you have different pitches, right? This is the highness or the lowness of the sound. And the melody naman is the group of pitches. So the group of beats na or different kinds of pitches. So you have your scales, your major and minor scales, your tonal music, your modes. So this is distinctive of the melody or theme. And a theme could be like a basis of extended musical work, or meaning parang it's just like in visual arts. For example, theme could be dark. It's could also be the same with the melody. The melody could be low tone or the or low pitch, and then or the theme could be very high pitch, but then it could have uh, an accompaniment na medium pitch. So that's what a melody is. So melodies can be described as conjunct, which is smooth or easy to sing or play. And then disjunct could be ragged or jumpy and difficult to sing or play. And then you also have your harmony. This is the verticalization of a pitch. So usually this is where your chords come in. So if you can imagine, this is your guitar, but this is also a musical sheet. You can the chords, the pitches or beats could when you press it, that is a chord. So this is the chord. So ayun, a chord progression of 4 chords. This is a 3-note is a chord, and then pag apat na chords, it's called a chord progression. So ayun. And then you have your timbre or your tone color. So just like sa visual arts, yung tone color or yung timbre naman is something like yung color na linalagay mo sa canvas. So it gives characteristics or overtones sa music. It's very difficult to explain it when you cannot hear it, but for example, there are what do you call it? Like for example, there is a slow, and then bigyang tataas, and then slow again. So it's like but this kind of notes could be different from a piano to a guitar and something like that, or a flute. So the tone color or the timbre here is different from different instruments, from different people singing it, for example. And then timbre here can also be created by combining instruments or voices. For example, in orchestra, it could have different kinds of timbre or tone colors. But the colors here depends on the instruments. So for example, let me try to explain it more clearly. In visual arts, you have different colors, right? Red, blue, yellow. In an orchestra, you have piano. You can have a piano, violin, and a flute. So that could be used to paint, or no, the colors could use to paint the canvas or paint a picture, while the instruments could be used to make the music or paint the scenery of the music that you hear it, not see it. So I hope that you understand what I'm trying to say. But ayun. So you also have texture. So when texture naman, this could be how the quality of the voice could be. or the quality of the music. But if you make it more complicated, um, it could also be a single note texture or a homophonic or a polyphonic texture. So, pag monophonic, you have one note sounding at a time. So if this is in piano, you could uh, touch one hand or play notes in one hand only. Pag homophonic, sometimes you could um, have one melody in one hand and another melody in another hand. And pag both mo siyang, you play it both hands, it could have like a sort of accompaniment and stuff. Or it could make up a one song. Um, ayan. So, polyphonic naman, it's kind of different because it would have different kinds of melody. So, very much usual though when you hear songs, and this one naman, polyphonic, this is different. This is usually used in theater kasi it has independent melodies, and sometimes it's like people trying to talk to each other but through singing. Ganon. So that's polyphonic texture. And then imitative texture, ito naman yung parang nag-echo, parang paulit-ulit. This is your round song. Tama ba, round song? Or box song. Na pag kakanta yung isa, then kakanta yung isa, susundin niya yung isa, and then another and another. So that is your imitative texture. So there are different kinds of forms naman in a musical form. But basically, you have your different kinds. This is when this is for how you sing or how you read a musical composition. Sometimes it could have a stoic form, but this is for vocal music. So if you could if you have read lyrics before, it could have verse 1, verse 2, verse 3. And then when thorough compose naman, you have, this is for the musical section. Like for example, how you play a guitar or something like that. So you have your notes there, A, B, C, D, E, and so forth. And then your binary forms naman, you have your, this is more advanced but it could also have repeat marks like A na chord, and then you could repeat that again, and then B, after B you repeat A and stuff like that. And then ternary form naman is three-part form featuring initial music after contrasting section. So, ternary form, ito yung my bridge and then my chorus, and then, di ba, may parang verse 1, that's my bridge, my chorus, and then verse 2, my bridge and chorus, and ganun. So, yun yung ternary form. And then musical styles, there are different kinds of musical styles, but basically you also have periods in, wait lang, I'm going to charge my laptop. But basically you have middle age music, Renaissance, Baroque, classical, romantic, and modern. So during the Middle Ages, the kind of music was Catholic, sacred music, and it started with a simple chant. And then until naging much complex yung chant na instead of one voice, naging dalawang voices, and then three voice ganon. So it has experiments in harmony and rhythm. And then Renaissance naman, yung music there had a more focus on humanism. So, but in Renaissance, there was it was called as the golden age of vocal music. And then sa Baroque era, ornate and elaborate naman yung music before. Kasi, di ba, with the rise of the vocal music, they also started to experiment using instruments. So, dito din na discovered or na-invented yung violin and the orchestra. So, from the chanting to the group of people through a choir, it became an orchestra in the Baroque period. And then classic music, this is classic, there is parang rebellion against the structural unity and clarity and balance. So classical music are sorry, it is when classical era kasi it was very turbulent in terms of the period kasi it was there with war and stuff. So the classical era became when it comes to music, composers like more to see more structure, to be unified, clarity, and then balance. So with classical era, there are very strict rules regarding on composition, on performance, and how are metered supposed to be, played and stuff like that. So, ayan, classic era. And then romantic era, this is naman yung flamboyance, nationalism, superstar. So there are performers na, concerts, and middle class paying audiences. And then modern art, this is during most 1900s to the present. There are advances in musical technology na, and then there are also influences from non-Western, so Asia, Middle East, and stuff. So mas relax na yung sa modern era. So, ayun. So, do you have any more questions? Guys?
None, ma'am.
None, ma'am.
Okay. So, we're done for today. And for the 16th of February, that's our next. Yan ba yung susunod natin na? Wait lang.
26 po ata sa Saturday.
Ano yan?
Sa Saturday po ata, ma'am, may isa pong deadline na plate.
Yes. Bakit? Wait lang. Weird ng ano ko. So today is the 23rd. So our next class would be on March 2. So March 2, we will have lecture on visual elements and principles. All right. So see you next week, guys.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye,
you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.